Hey guys, Tony Katz, and if you've been following me on Facebook, Tony Katz Radio, you've seen the posts that I've been putting up specifically in regards to Broward County and Sheriff Steve Israel. Now, I find Sheriff Steve Israel to be completely unacceptable, unworthy of being Sheriff of Broward County. And I've said more than once in my social media feeds, both here and on Twitter at Tony Katz, that I stand with the people of Broward County if they choose to recall Sheriff Steve Israel. He doesn't deserve to be sheriff. You have to have somebody who takes responsibility. And when you have four, count them, four sheriffs as being reported, who don't go into the school, well, then that's a serious problem. And that's a serious problem that has to go to the top. And the person at the top who gets to have all the accolades of being called sheriff, well, they have to have responsibility. And that responsibility should be full-on resignation for failing to teach these deputies proper techniques as is being described. It was after Columbine they changed the rules, SOP, standard operating procedure, that you enter the school, you take out the threat, which is the shooter, even bypassing those people who are injured. But today's interview with Sheriff Israel on CNN with Jake Tapper, which is, by the way, the interview that Dana Lash did with Steve Israel during that awful town hall. Jake Tapper was simply doing a rehash of it. Steve Israel, this sheriff, said he gave amazing leadership. He has done great things with the sheriff's department, and he's not going to worry about what the media thinks or some timeline thinks. They're going to look into what happened and where mistakes were made. We're past the point of where mistakes were made, Sheriff. We're to the point where we have to take responsibility, and we can't allow these things, certainly, to happen in the future. But you can't sit here and tell us that there was fantastic leadership. Now, a couple other things have come from this, and the point that I want to make actually is very less to do with the sheriff and more to do with the kids. Kids who have been coming out to say, well, I don't blame these officers for not entering the school. Who wants to stare down the barrel of an AR-15? Kids are kids. And I've seen a lot of disgusting posts about these kids, this David Hogg and Cameron. I don't know all their names. I don't need to know their names. I need to remember, and we need to remember, that they're kids. Of course they're going to say things that don't make sense. Of course they don't understand all the issues, and we shouldn't expect them to. We shouldn't be treating them like adults. CNN, as I see it, used them as human shields, and so did MSNBC. Used them as weapons against the American people in having conversations about the Second Amendment. Kids don't get to have an opinion. They can be in pain, I agree. They can be emotional, I agree. They can speak, of course. But having a say in policy? No, they don't have a say in policy. But I also don't want to sit here and scream at them and yell at them like I would an adult who wants to push out policies like Sheriff Steve Israel, where he thinks that he has given amazing leadership and that nobody should question what his officers, what his deputies have done. We have seen the FBI fail here. Not the whole of the FBI, FBI agents. We have seen local law enforcement fail here. Not the totality of it, but specific people. We have seen the school fail in multiple places in not getting this information about the dangerous attitudes of this shooter and what he was planning. We have seen these failures, and we need to hold people accountable for the failures. We need these kids to be kids. Now, of course, I think you should be able to get a gun at 18. I'm one of those people. Yes, hi, my name is Tony Katz. Because I believe that there are plenty of kids who are more than competent and more than capable and more than able to handle a firearm at 18, certainly a long rifle. But that's a conversation, a worthy one, and I'm more than happy to have it with people. I don't want to have a conversation with people where they're screaming and yelling at 15-year-olds. That's beneath us. We shouldn't do it. We need to keep a focus. And the focus is on the adults who failed. The adults who need to be dealt with, who need to be fired, who need to be thrown out, yes, immediately, if not sooner. And I only hope the people of Broward County do this. And if you guys need help, trust me, there are a lot of Americans who are ready to come down and help you do it, to bring a lot of pressure to bear, to get rid of Sheriff Israel, who failed in his task and seems very okay with being the politician that he is, and going on television to try and defend himself and make himself look good. The adults deserve our focus. Policy needs to be the conversation. These kids are kids. Stop yelling at them And to network news and cable news networks, mainstream media, stop using them as human shields. Stop using them as weapons against the American people. It's beneath you too. I'm Tony Katz. Follow me on Twitter at Tony Katz, Facebook here, Tony Katz Radio. Like the page. And at WIBC, WIBC.com, 6 to 9 a.m. and 11 to 1 p.m. every Monday through Friday. Take care.